Expose the pipe by removing aggregate away from the area where the joint is to be made. Using water and a clean lint-free cloth, thoroughly remove surface dirt from the pipe. Using a suitable isopropanol solution, wipe the pipe to remove any remaining contamination, being careful not to introduce any further contamination to the preparation area. Always check the fitting packaging prior to starting installation to ensure that it's the correct fitting type, size and SDR. Keeping the fitting within its protective packaging, place on the pipe in the installation position and draw around the outline of the fitting. This identifies the surface area of the pipe that needs to be scraped. It's good practice to fill the area with lines to ensure that the area has been fully scraped. Prior to scraping, inspect the scraper to ensure that it's clean and that the blades are sharp. Scrape the marked area, ensuring that you scrape past the marks previously made on the pipe surface. For top-load tapping tees, open the packaging to expose the base and top of the fitting and then place in position on the prepared pipe surface. Remove cap from tapping tee and place somewhere safe, clean and dry. Place top-load clamp in position and release the arm locking lever of the clamp. Locate the clamp into the cutter head of the tapping tee and then tighten the arm locking lever. Screw the hand wheel clockwise until the central indicator in the hand wheel is flush with the top face. Using a suitable marker pen, mark the outline of the fitting on the pipe so any movement during the fusion cycle can be identified. It's good practice to mark the terminal shrouds. For underclamp tapping tees, remove the fitting from the packaging and place in position on the prepared pipe surface. The underclamp wraps around the underneath of the pipe. Locate the plastic part of the underclamp onto the opposite tapping T-wing. Using a screwdriver or alternative tool, screw the screws until fully tightened. This will cause the two plastic parts housing the screws to move closer together. Once the screws are tightened, there should be no gap between the plastic parts on the underclamp. Mark the outline of the fitting so that any movement during the fusion cycle can be identified. Check the scraper to be used on the spigot outlet is clean and undamaged. Place the scraper inside the spigot outlet of the tapping tee and then tighten into position. Locate the scraping tip on the outlet and begin to scrape. A continuous ribbon of material should be produced, which shows the scraping process has been performed correctly. Retract the cutting tip and remove the scraper. Remove the ribbon created during the scraping process. Inspect the socket to be placed on the spigot outlet for damage and locate in position with the other end remaining protected by the packaging. Mark the socket depth on the spigot outlet so that any movement during the fusion cycle can be identified. Prepare the service pipe by scraping the end of the pipe. Insert the prepared pipe end into the socket on the tapping T outlet. Mark socket depth on service pipe so that any movement during the fusion cycle can be identified. Inspect clamp, position and then tighten to prevent any movement in the service pipe and tapping T. It's good practice to write on the joint the fusion time, cooling time, the date the joint was made, and the initials of the operator creating the joint for traceability purposes. Connect the output leads of the ECU to the tapping T. Either manually or using the barcode reader, enter the fusion time into the ECU and start the fusion process. Once the fusion time is complete, check the fusion indicators have risen and remove the output leads. Now connect the output leads to the socket connecting the tapping T and service pipe. Either manually or using the barcode reader, enter the fusion time into the ECU and start the fusion process. Once the fusion time is complete, check the fusion indicators have risen and remove the output leads. It's good practice to write on the joint the time the cooling period started. Once the cooling time has elapsed, any portable clamps can be removed. Prior to cutting into the distribution pipe through the tapping T, a pressure test should be performed on each tapping T at 1.5 times the working pressure for 2 minutes. We also recommend that a further 10 minutes should be left after the cooling time has elapsed prior to cutting into the pipe. To cut into the distribution pipe, the tapping T bar should be located into the top of the tapping T cutter. By turning the key clockwise, the cutter moves down the stack towards the pipe, until eventually cutting through the pipe wall. Once the pipe wall has been cut through, the key is turned anti-clockwise to return the cutter to the upper position. Replace the tapping T-cap onto the stack. Your offtake is now complete.